Car's underway. Stamps his authority once again.
My word, this could go wrong.
On the brakes, goodness me, what a launch.
Look at that.
It just all comes down to this. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to the penultimate round of your Almost Pro Championship season. Or not the penultimate round, even at the one before. Got excited for a second. We are here for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And it's going to be very, very good indeed. I'm not sure what the word actually would be for third to last, but that's what we've got on our hands today. Race number 12, and will be our second race in America of the season, unless you're counting the sprint as another one, in which case it's 3. My name's Joseph Black. I'll be taking you through all of the action here today, alongside Kyle SW. And well, Kyle, Las Vegas, slightly smaller grid than we'd usually be expecting, but I'm sure we'll be getting no less action than the streets of Nevada.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I think through an ultimate would be a good word. We should try and make that one stick. But yes, we are here for race number 12, and we have 3 races remaining. A smaller grid than normal, but still 12 cars on the grid, so we can't be absolutely upset about that. I think we've actually been down to 13 was the lowest number so before this one, so not a bad showing. But we have got 2 reserves on the grid, 2 fantastic female racers, so we'll be looking to see what them 2 will do on this through an ultimate race. I don't know how many times I'm going to try and squeeze that in today, but yeah, looking forward to seeing this one. One of the tracks I love to watch, love to commentate on. I absolutely love watching this one. I love to drive as well, but of course I am not currently driving, but I'm looking forward to getting down to it. So I will stop waffling and get ready to watch this one with the viewers.
Yeah, we'll get ready to go down to the good stuff and go down to the track very shortly. And in fact, now we can bring you live pictures of exactly what is the crack down on the streets of Nevada right now. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. And, well, it'll be Ellen at the top of the field at the moment with a 130.981 to her name. That will see her right at the very top of the table. Lucas Erracini second place with 131.159, but Welly 2 tenths off the back of him, and then Alexis Mason, our other reserve for this evening, down in 4th place. And, will be 0.13 off the back of Burt, with Owen Boldero about a 10th back off of Alexis, and Ollie Matthews, Ollie Corlett, Ethan Shackleton, Alexander Vickel, and then the 2 Mercedes drivers who have not quite set a time just yet, but they've come out of the pits and they'll be setting one soon.
Yeah, one thing to note, if you've probably already seen on screen, Andrew Chenkovan has retired from this session. Now, I don't know this for fact. I wasn't watching his car. He may have crashed, potentially. Doesn't sound like Andrew Chenkovan, does it? But what I suspect has happened was there was a bit of a jokey question from Ollie Matthews in the driver's chat this week. We asked Andrew Chenkovan to miss this race, sit this one out, so they can battle for a title at the end of the season. Andrew Chenkovan came back and said, the best I can offer is a last to first challenge. We weren't sure if he was joking, but by the looks of it, he's taking that seriously. So will it be a last to first for Andrew Chenkovan? I mean, you couldn't rule it out, could you? Andrew Chenkovan is one of the few drivers that could absolutely pull it off. But we've got 2 rapid reserves in Ellen Bullink and Alexis Mason on the grid, who are wanting to get wins themselves. It would be another win for Alexis, I think. I don't want to say it's wrong, but I think it's 3rd win for Alexis if she wins. And it'd be a first for Ellen, who crashed out from 2nd place in the last race in Brazil. Of course, we're missing both Kick-Saubers. One of them didn't give a reason. The other one, well, he didn't really officially tell us he wasn't racing, but he burnt his hand, apparently, and he is a pad user, so isn't jumping in this one. One of the Williams isn't here because he can't make the race. That's generally the reason that he gave. And the other one isn't here without giving us a reason at all. So that is always fun from the drivers. Ethan Shackleton almost missed this one, but was able to make it last minute, and we respect that kind of commitment from the Ferrari driver. And of course, there are championships to play out today. Andrew Chenkovan could win the Drivers' Championship today, and we'll go through the permutations on that very shortly. And Ferrari can't win the Teams Championship today. That will go to at least next week. But RB are fighting very hard to stay in contention.
Perfect segue then to the drivers' standings, and at the very top of the field, it is, of course, Andrei Chenkovan, who has 235 points. He is now 72 ahead of Ollie Matthews, and I think the reason he's retired is just that. He wants to give Ollie Matthews the best racing possible, and we'll talk about his titles later on. Owen Boldero, 3rd place, and Luca Saraceni, 4th, and in fact, I think it might be more relevant at this point to bring up the drivers' standings permutations in terms of the championship itself, which is not that one which I had loaded up. It is going to be that one that I've got loaded up. Andrei Chenkovan and Ollie Matthews, of course, the only two still in contention for the title here today. Then you've got Saraceni, Mason, Welly, Shackleton, Garung, Petho, Harding, and well, he rounds out the top 10. Of course, he's not here tonight. Connor Stewart-Woodard is in 11th place. Matthew Gatches is in 12th. Brian Moore is in 13th. Daniel Riley in 14th. Harrison Robinson in 15th. And then Ratto, Vickle, Stone, Corlett, and, of course, Ellen Belink at the very back of this field. If we have a look more at, well, the constructors' standings that we have, and I know I teased them earlier, these are the graphics. These are the standings themselves at the very top of this field. It is, of course, Ferrari, but Aston Martin with a more decent shot here. The gap between them only 60 points. And, of course, with two drivers, they've got double the opportunity to score those points. It will be for that 3rd place Racing Bulls, who are still within championship contention at the moment, as it stands, at the very least. They have 100 and I can't quite actually see the last point there. It will be... I'll try and do the maths in my head. 117, there we go. I just can't do the maths. 350 minus 233. I'll be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. But that is the championship as it stands. And, well, it's going to be crucial here tonight for the Aston Martin team that they need to pounce upon the opportunities that will be provided for themselves.
Yes, they will. Of course, the Drivers' Championship, it's going to be extremely hard for Ollie Matthews because he needs to win basically every race from here on in. He does have to win every race from here on in and hope for some very, very poor results from Andrei Chenkovan. But the team's championship is still very much up for grabs with two strong drivers in the Aston Martin team. Of course, we've only seen recently one strong driver in the Ferrari team, Ethan Shackleton. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. He's had a lot of struggles throughout this season, which is not like the person who has been runner-up on multiple occasions here in APC. So it's very, very possible. For Racing Bulls, it's going to be a lot harder. Ellen crosses the line and improves her provisional pole time to a 1:30.930. So a good showing. And I tell you what, Regan Harding and Aaron Petho might both be missing this one out. But there's a good chance of some good points for the team, apologies, who, of course, is fighting there in the midfield, as we've seen. Aaron Petho, actually, and Regan Harding are also fighting for a position in the Drivers' Championship. So it's surprising that they're not racing this one out. But, of course, they've all got other lives to lead as well. I am on board with Bert Welly for this race on my tablet, so I'll be keeping an eye on his adventures. It's usually only Bert Welly and the two Kicksalvers who stream. And, of course, with the both Kicksalvers not being here, it means that I've only got Bert Welly to watch.
Yes, certainly do. Certainly do indeed. I've accidentally just video called somebody, which is why you might have heard me go in the background.
Get him live. Get him live on APC.
But, yeah, we've got 6 minutes left in this qualifying session. I'm about to send an apology message. Bert Welly is 1,000th down in the first sector.
That he is, as we say, I am live with him. And he's not improving on his current time of a 1:31.371. That, of course, has got him in 7th position, but he's only 500ths off 5th position, that being Alexis Mason and Owen Boldero being sandwiched between the two. Let's see, Demon, what's I thought his name for a minute there. Luca Saraceni is going down the long back straight here, of course, Las Vegas Boulevard in real life. He is hoping to improve. And he currently isn't doing so. He is down currently on his best lap. I have just seen Bert Welly's stream is completely glitching out. So I might not be on board with Bert Welly for much longer. And I've realised it's not Lucas Saraceni I'm on board with. It's Bert Welly. So I've got the completely wrong RB. But he's going to cross the line now. And it's going to be an 8,000th improvement. Kind of nothing really, but it's an improvement nonetheless. As Daniel Riley is on, got himself into 4th position. We missed that, but yes, it's position changing all round with both Haas drivers at the back. Surprisingly, with Ethan Shackleton in between them.
Yeah, Ethan Shackleton at the moment. I'll be hoping to find his way further up the field. If not, then it's a perfect opportunity for the Aston Martin to try and find their way up and try and fight their way into top contention. Ethan Shackleton did set a 34 straight away. He's improved it, but it's only up to a 32, so it's not too much of an improvement. It's not the improvement he would have been looking for as Paul Garung heads on to the start of his next lap, and he is going to be 600ths down on Daniel Riley at the moment, his own teammate, and 600ths off of the front 2 rows of the field. Ollie Matthews and Lucas Erasini, as well as Riley, split by not too much at all. They are split by 0.025, so a quarter of a tenth that they have in difference between them. And, Owen Boldero will be hoping to find his way into the fight. 2/10 off the back at the moment. What can Paul Garung do in the first sector as he heads down towards the braking zone at turn number 4? It will be in the first sector. Bit of a kick on the exit, actually, of turn 3. And it will not be an improvement in the first sector, at least, as Daniel Riley comes into the pits. But Welly looks like he's going to do the same. We're going to have a bit of a lull in the on-track action as the drivers get their runs, for the final runs even, underway.
That we are. So this is the point where we just fill the time a little bit and just speak about anything, really. I guess bank holiday weekends, it was a bit of a crazy one for me. I don't know about yourself, Joseph. I'll ask you about that in a minute. But yes, it's Alexander Vickel has returned after taking 3 races out, having been on holiday in the countryside. Still don't know which countryside, but countryside is the only bit of information we have. But he's back. Will he be rusty? A 1:43.987 says yes, but that might just have been a bad lap. So Joseph Black, obviously in the lull. What did you get up to this bank holiday?
Lots of, just very busy. Lots of work. A little bit of commentary, in fact. I was commentating on the UK Kart Series. I'm sure you won't mind the little subtle promotion. The UK
Don't think they will take our drivers.
Well, look, listen. If anybody wants to go and watch it and support me, feel free. Leave a comment, say how wonderful the commentator is, and then they might book me for the next round. That would be very, very lovely if you're watching this back or even watching it live. But don't do it while you're driving. I know Luca likes to watch, and he's on his outlap, so I hope that he is not multitasking at the moment. Otherwise, he might find himself very quickly into the wall.
Luca does like to watch, absolutely. If you get a chance, Joseph, throw a link in the description, or you can't in the comments, and then anyone who's watching can absolutely visit that event. I'd love to come see you, watch you sometime. I'm sure you're a fantastic commentator in real life, as good as you are in online commentary. So I'll have to come see that myself sometime, and I'll make that happen. But as I'm about to say, Alexander Vickel back on board with him. He went very wide there. This lap is not going to be a great one. It is 2 green sectors, so a better lap than the 1:43.987 he posted before. But it's going to be a 1:34.209. And I tell you what, quite a good improvement. He's been off for a few weeks. He's 2 seconds off the back of Ethan Shackleton, and I'm sure he won't be massively displeased about that. I'm sure he was hoping for slightly more. His teammate, Ollie Corlett, got that right, absolutely, is now also coming through the same few corners. Green sector 1, but it's not a personal best in the second sector. So can he find enough to improve in the third sector? The battery has been depleted. The rain light is flashing, so it's not going to be a fantastic third sector, and he's validated it at the pit entry. I will throw a replay up if we are watching this post, although you know my luck, I've probably actually validated it before and I just completely missed it. That's something that I absolutely do sometimes. So we will see. One of the RBs is going to come across the line to start a lap. Ellen is going to come around to start a lap. So we're waiting for a few drivers to start a lap, but we have got Owen Boldero and Alexis Mason. No, Alexis Mason is doing a warm-up lap, so that's probably the only person doing that, it would seem. And Owen Boldero is also doing a warm-up lap because he's invalidated. So just waiting for these drivers to come around and start their final laps.
You certainly are, and they haven't got long to go before they have to get those final laps in, because there's only so many warm-up laps you can quote-unquote, there's only so many quote-unquote warm-up laps even you can do before you can just admit it's a skill issue, and it'll be the last one that Owen Boldero will be able to do, because there's only 30 seconds left on the clock. This qualifying session, as always, seems to fly by, and he's going to come around the final two corners and start on his next lap. Now then, who's going to be out there on the racetrack, ready to go racing and ready to start their laps? Well, I can tell you something for certain. Nobody is on a push lap at the moment. Nobody's on a good push lap at the moment, at least. So Owen Boldero will come to the line and start his first lap of his first part of his final qualifying session. Lucas Aracini, in the meantime, completely proves me wrong as he goes green, not purple, green in the second sector, but not too far off what Ellen was able to set on her previous lap time, but she has improved. It was only a gap of about 0.019 between the two drivers' second sectors, but this time there is about a 10th improvement for Ellen. No more improvements for Daniel Riley. He is out of this race session. He will not be able to improve on his 1:31.184 that puts him in 4th place. What can Lucas Aracini do as he rounds the final corner and comes up to the line? He improved in the first two sectors, and he will stake his claim for pole position. But Ellen, up by a quarter of a second, looks to be snatching it right back off him, up to the line for herself, and it will be a 1:30.520, an unbelievable lap time, especially at this point in the session with the pressure on, and with Seracini snatching it away. That will be pole position for the Williams unless anybody is able to pull out an incredible final sector, but all the other positions still yet to be decided. Burt Welly will come around the final corner. He is foot flat to the floor and will remain it all the way to the line now, and for himself, a 1:31.250 puts himself in 6th place, jumping past Alexis Mason, who has one more corner to go all by herself. The number 9 Kick Sauber machine moves up all the way to 3rd position. Ollie Matthews has not improved, has not lost time in the first two sectors, but the final one, he will move into 4th place for today's race. Paul Garung, the last car to the line, and he will find himself further up the order as well. A very, very tense end to the qualifying session sees him in 3rd.
What drama we just witnessed there at the end of that. But I will talk more about that in a minute. But of course, the results are on screen. So let's just quickly recap those.
Yeah, it'll be Ellen on pole position, Ellen Belink, who takes that away with an unbelievable lap time at the end. Lucas Seracini in 2nd place, over a 10th ahead of Paul Garung in 3rd. 4th for Alexis Mason, just under a 10th off of the back of the Briton in 3rd place, and it'll be Ollie Matthews in 5th. Dan Riley, who was not able to set a lap time on his final run, came in 6th, with Burt Welly in 7th, Owen Boldero in 8th, Ollie Corlett in 9th, and Ethan Shackleton rounding out the top 10. Alexander De Vickel and, of course, Andrea Chenkovan are going to be those who are not going to be setting a competitive time to take them off of the 6th row of the grid in qualifying, but race day is very soon underway.
I tell you what, Lucas Seracini probably believed for a few seconds there that he could maybe finally do it here in APC. He got a purple 3rd sector, a sector time that he held all to the end, a 35.0. That was just under a 10th faster than Ellen's effort, and actually it was Alexis Mason who went slightly faster than Ellen as well. So I tell you what, he would have seen that and gone, this is very, very possible. But 2 purple sectors from Ellen was fantastic. It ended up being almost 4 tenths in the end. But with Andrea Chenkovan at the back of the grid, Ellen on pole, Lucas Aracini on 2nd, and then Alexis Mason on 3rd, and championship contender Ollie Matthews in 4th, we are set for a fantastic Vegas Grand Prix here in APC.
Yeah, we certainly are indeed. The 3rd to last race of the season is ready to get underway very shortly, and the strategies are looking like they're going to be stretching the stints as long as you possibly can. And we will see at what point the drivers' tyres will pop. The likes of Ollie Matthews, I'd expect to be going for a gambled strategy of maybe just going for the hards to the start and then running right to the end on a set of the mediums. But we will, of course, wait and see. No point speculating because if we have a look at their tyres, they will change them last minute. That's the nature of league racing. That's the nature of trying to gain a competitive edge on your opponents. And we will see what they will do as the 12 cars that we have to hand today will set to this race session in one, which could be won here today in terms of the championship by Andrea Chenkovan. But he's given Ollie Matthews as much of an opportunity as he can.
Yeah, look, Andrea Chenkovan, for the most part, has had it his way this season. He's not been bulletproof. We have seen mistakes. We've seen chinks in that armor. But yeah, I think he wanted more of a fight, and he was given to him on quite a few occasions, especially from the likes of Alexis Mason and sometimes Ollie Matthews and even Lucas Serafini at times. But yeah, I think he's got what, 3 races to do it, and he's in a very comfortable position. So he figured, why not give a last to first challenge a go? And I tell you what, if he wins it from the back, well, I mean, we'll see later when what he actually needs to win. But if he wins the race from the back, then that is going to be a fantastic way to take a championship. But not a lot needed today, actually, from him to win the championship. I think, off the top of my head, I think it's 8th position that's needed from Andrew Jenkovan to take the championship today. So, yeah, you might as well give it a go. Might as well have a bit of fun, and might as well enjoy Vegas from the back.
Yeah, you certainly will. And, well, just to give everybody a little teaser of what might be to come later on, we will have a look at one of our wonderful graphics for this evening. The reason that the game briefly paused is I wanted to make sure it's the right one. Indeed, it is. So we're going to be able to just understand the permutations as the formation lap gets underway. If Andrea finishes 8th or above, he will win the championship here today, and he'll be starting from 12th. So he's only got to overtake 4 drivers. So could be relatively easy for the Croat, but Ollie Matthews, he will just be focusing on winning. His teammate will be focusing on trying to give him the win. Be difficult from 5th and 8th, though.
It will for sure. They need to work together somehow, despite being 4 positions apart. But we'll see how this one pans out. I mean, we've seen them find each other on track before, so it is possible. And Daniel Riley's kind of disappeared from the session, but actually also isn't even online. So he's obviously had a connection problem somewhere. So he'll hope to get back in before the end of this formation lap to take up this race from 5th position. Is that... Oh, well, of course, I completely missed that Paul Garon got himself into 3rd place. I massively missed that, so I clearly wasn't paying enough attention. I was probably focusing on Bert Welly's stream because it was absolutely glitching out, and I've given up on that, so I will not be on board with any driver at any point in the race. Tyres, it's mediums for everybody except for Andrew Jenkovan, who's stuck on the hard, so he'll be running long, and we've seen him do things like this before, and it always seems to pay off for Andrew Jenkovan. But I tell you, who's playing a game today? It would seem to be Owen Boldero, who is miles behind the rest of the pack. He's got his own peloton going on. In fact, I take that back. It's both Aston Martins. If we quickly get that on stream, they are running in formation and blocking every single driver behind. So they're playing a game. They are working together to get in the heads of everyone else. And I tell you what, who's just behind them? It's Ethan Shackleton. Not behind him on track, but in order, but behind him physically on track. And they will be trying to get in his head, because if he crashes out and Andrew Jenkovan crashes out, this will play a massive part in who will take the team's championship at the end of round number 14 in 2 weeks' time.
Certainly will play a massive part, and some drivers joined us for interviews pre-race, and well, none of them are the drivers in the Aston Martins, although usually those are the ones that we see, so it's a surprise there, but they're clearly keeping their cards close to their chest. Somebody who did come in and speak to us is the person in 2nd place already, just parked up his car. That'll be Lucas Erasini. He says he was really annoyed because he felt like he was on for a sprint win, because of course he is talking about the previous round, which was held also in America, just like Las Vegas. Well, he was feeling amazing about the last race of the season. Of course, the race after that at Brazil definitely maximised his pace, and he kept mistakes to a minimum. He'll be hoping to do the same thing here today. There's no cars on the grid. I've never seen this before in my life. The action will get underway, but we've gone black, so we have no idea what's going on with the action at the moment. And it's crashed, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful.
apologies for the technical issues, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to, for the moment, I panicked, so I got rid of it as soon as I could. Kai was going to take you through the action in the first lap, whilst I just get back in the session.
I am, and there's a lot of action so far. Lucas Aracini is in the lead of the race then, ahead of Elin Bolink. And that is going to be side by side between Paul Garung and Alexis Mason. And what a fantastic overtake that was going into the final set. Paul Garung then is in the wall at the end of the final lap. So coming together with Alexis Mason there has put him in the wall and has put him down to 7th place. And he's actually going to box for damage. So that is an unfortunate end for the first stint for Paul Garung, someone who... he qualified very, very well. Elin Bolink still has in the back of Lucas Aracini. She wants that win back, and he's not going to be able to get it so far. Round the outside of Ethan Shackleton, not Ethan Shackleton, it's Andrea Chenkovan, goes Daniel Riley. So the hard tyre running championship leader is not making the headway he wants so far. He is in 8th position, so he is up 4 positions, but it's not going to be enough as it stands. There is a tight train between Ollie Corlett, who's all the way up in 6th place, might I add. Make that 7th as Daniel Riley makes another overtake. He is the cork in the bottle between him and the cars behind. That of Ethan Shackleton is ahead of Daniel Riley himself. And Owen Boldero is with the front train as well. Ollie Corlett holding on well to some high positions here. You have to ask what the Kicksawas could have done if they had entered this race. Andrea Chenkovan will want to get past Ollie Corlett very soon, but Bert Welly is a lot closer to Andrea Chenkovan than Andrea is to Ollie. So we will see how this one plays out. Down the Las Vegas Boulevard they go. Ollie Corlett is back ahead of Daniel Riley. I tell you what, in comes Ollie Corlett, because we've not seen a lot of this from him, but he is managing to pull it off. But Andrea Chenkovan goes past the both of them. Daniel Riley in one straight has gone from 7th position down to 9th. Andrea Chenkovan already in the top 6, and he's just behind his teammate. And I dare say his teammate won't do a lot to hold him up. Bert Welly goes past Ollie Corlett. Ollie Matthews gets past Daniel Riley. What's Ollie Matthews doing down in 9th position in the panic of the start of what was this race with the black screen for the broadcast? We missed what happened to Ollie Matthews, who's actually made himself back into 8th position. And I tell you what, Joseph Black, this is not a race. Of all the races for you to not be seeing, this is not the one you wanted to miss, because there is action around every corner and down every single straight. Alexis Mason is on the back of the other reserve of Ellie, and that's a yellow flag, and I think that is Paul Garung. It's not Paul Garung, it's Daniel Riley. What has happened to Daniel Riley? He's gone straight on before the right turn in the first sector, and he can't flick spin. He's trying his best to do a flick spin. He must be running traction control, because now he's trying a 3-point turn, and that's not going very well either. That's a 50-point turn then for Dan Riley, and he spun it again, trying to come out. Oh, he just needs to reset to track at this point, because he tried to spin it around. He's accidentally lost traction and spun again and gone into the same place. That's a 10-second penalty for Dan Riley for his troubles. And now he is stone dead last. And I won't be surprised if there is a retirement very soon. The female drivers in the APC Championship are swapping positions. Alexis Mason is now ahead of Elin Bolink. That is a clean overtake going into the final section here. And Owen Boldero is also on the back of these. So the two reserves are sandwiched between Owen Boldero and Lucas Aracini. And Lucas Aracini, he will be seeing this and will be hoping for this win. These drivers should probably start thinking about working together. Andrea Chenkovan is the next driver behind. He is 2.5 seconds behind these drivers, and he is hunting them down pretty quickly. So if they fight too much, they will end up miles behind. That's wrong term. I've completely distracted myself there. They will end up in the clutches of Andrea Chenkovan, and that is not what they need. Andrea Chenkovan has got that gap down another half a second and is 2 seconds behind them now. So they need to be very careful. Of course, Andrea's tyres, hard tyres, will come into their own very, very soon, and they will be faster than the medium runners ahead. That is Alexis Mason having a look on Lucas Aracini. Not the kind of place you'll be doing an overtake, especially going into the Las Vegas Boulevard. And now, all 4 drivers have been Lucas Aracini, Alexis Mason, Elin Bolink, and Owen Boldero are all nose to tail the entire way down this section here. who is going to be in the lead at the end of it. And I'll tell you what, Ollie Matthews is going to go for an overtake on Bert Welly further behind, and it's going to be Alexis Mason going past Luca Seracini for the lead of this race. She goes a little bit deep, but is able to keep the position. Ethan Shackleton has got back past Ollie Matthews. Ollie Matthews goes back past Ethan Shackleton. I don't know which battle to watch, but there was a lot going on in the corner in the third sector there. Bert Welly now into 6th place, so a big winner from all of this. Owen Boldero will get past Ellen Bolink into turn 1 and will take the bottom step on the podium as it currently stands. There is action across all of the track here. And Joseph, you are absolutely missing out on this one. Let me tell you. I bet you, when you finally get into this race, no one's going to overtake anyone. Ollie Matthews is all over the back of Bert Welly. Not able to do anything there as we head towards this sphere section there. That's something I'm pretty sure I made up. But if it's not called the sphere section in real life, they should just definitely call it that. Looks like Bert Welly is struggling to hold on a little bit. Ollie Matthews is a lot faster at this stage. And I tell you what, it's just occurred to me that the Aston Martins are now in completely different positions on the track. It's Owen Boldero who is well ahead of Ollie Matthews. I need to take a breath for a second. I tell you what, I just realised Owen Boldero is now 1.3 seconds off the top two then. So something's happened in the middle sector there. And that means he's no longer in the DRS train, and Ellen Bolink is going to get an easy overtake on Owen Boldero. Can they work together to close back up to the leaders of currently of Alexis Mason and Lucas Seracini? They will have to work together very, very well. Ollie Matthews takes one step closer to his championship rival, Andrea Chenkovan, and he's pushed into the wall by Bert Welly, and he is not going to be very pleased about that one. Joseph Black has joined the session, I am pleased to announce. And Ollie Matthews on the flip side, I'm not pleased to announce, is having to box for a new wing thanks to that little skirmish with the wall, and Bert Welly, Owen Boldero and Ellen Bolink are going side by side as the yellow flag in the third sector. It looks like it is the Haas of Alexandra Vickel. So not sure what's happened there. We'll stay on board with the drivers further ahead. I don't know why I said stay on board, because I'm not on board, I am off board. But we will stay with these battles because we do not want to miss any of this action. Because it is too good at this stage. That is a box then for Alexandra Vickel, and he picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for his troubles. Not going well for Alexandra Vickel. His teammate, on the other hand, in PA, he'd be quite happy about that. And I tell you something, in all this fighting, Andrea Chenkovan has made his way back up to 4th position and ahead of Ellen Bolink.
Yeah, who needed to start anywhere higher up the order? Who needs to start in first place? Whatever, because Andrea Chenkovan starting at the very back. I'll take over for a couple of laps to give you a little bit of a breath and a little bit of a breather. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for the technical issues that we've had today. As Andrea Chenkovan to the outside line of Owen Boldero, he's going to move up to P3. So, thankfully, your prophecy's been proven wrong. Somebody has made an overtake. Let's hope that's not the last one that we'll be able to see on the broadcast. And of course, this is a great advert for the post-race broadcasts that come out later on in the week, and then you get the opportunity to watch this race full from start to finish, and I'm sure we'll find a way of sorting out that start for you. Owen Boldero pushed Andrea Chenkovan almost into the wall there, into the chicane, but on the end of it he did not do anything just like that, and he was able to stay waiting in behind. Andrea Chenkovan will be staying in 3rd place for the time being. Bert Welly is coming under pressure from Ethan Shackleton as the two Ferraris make their way up the field at the moment. The gains from the two of them. Well, Ethan Shackleton, of course, he started in 10th place. He's made his way up to 7th, and Andrea Chenkovan has moved all the way up to 3rd, and I think Shackleton could be as close as 3 places off his teammate as he goes to the outside of Bert Welly and makes that move stick. Bert Welly's trying to fight it back, but it's 4 places gained now, and Bert Welly just tapping the wall a little bit. He's not had the greatest of starts to his race. We'll be hoping to recover from it. Is there any damage on that car? Yes, there is. There's an end plate off, so that is exactly not what he would have wanted to see. So the V-Carb is going to lose a decent chunk of time in the corners. But what he is going to do is he's going to gain a little bit of time down the straight. And, well, there's a lot of straight around this Las Vegas circuit, and mostly down at the Boulevard, which they're coming down to now. And Burt Welly 3/10 off the back of Ethan Shackleton. We'll see the straight line speed in the comparison between the two. And, of course, Burt Welly will, of course, have that DRS. It'll help him go along and go back alongside and go back ahead of Ethan Shackleton, moving up to 6th place. Shackleton will tuck back into the slipstream, but he won't make his way through. Ellen, in the meantime, all over the back of Owen Boldero as they head out towards the final corner. But there is no DRS for Owen Boldero, as that appears to be, well,
it's
that's
Ethan Shackleton.
Ethan Shackleton further down the order. That's unfortunate there. Couldn't quite tell if it was him or Corlett, because one of them was ghosting. In the end, it was Shackleton that was ghosting. He's spun around at the chicane, and that is going to cost him a lot of time, as Ollie Matthews, no front wing at all. Haven't seen that glitch for months, but it's reoccurring, and it has come back. But he was going to hope that he can come back in this race, as Ollie Corlett into the pit lane, and Andrea Cenkvan all the way up to P2, passing Luca Saraceni.
As you say, who needs a good position on the grid when you are Andrea Cenkvan? There's a reason he is currently a 3-time APC champion. Will he make it 4? He'll have to survive this race, of course. There are many, many laps left to go. And there is all chances of safety cars and all sorts of things could happen, as we've just seen his teammate spin it in the 3rd sector. The same could happen for Andrea Cenkvan. Of course, I'm not wishing that on anyone. I want a fair fight to the end of the championship, but that is Luca Saraceni, who was leading this race for quite a while then, quite a few laps, currently down to 3rd position. He won't be too upset about that, I would like to think. Ellen Bolling, though, having set an almighty pole position lap, would not be very pleased about the fact that she's currently in 4th, and dare I say it, in 5th, yes, absolutely right on cue, behind Owen Boldero. So, yes, all the craziness of the start. Ollie Corlett, I was just about to say, has been doing very well. In fact, actually, he's boxed. He's put some fresh hard tyres on. So that's why he's now down in 10th. So he started very, very well. And I'm sure he'd be very pleased if he gets a good result in the middle of the top 10 here. Ellen Bolling all over the back of Owen Boldero. She wants this position back. She wants to finish on the podium. In fact, I'm sure she'll absolutely love a win. Let's not forget that Andrea Cenkvan is on a different tyre strategy to everyone else. So they will all have the faster tyre later on. No, he will have the faster tyre later on. I do apologise. He'll have the faster tyre, but he will have the tyre that won't last as long. So when they all go onto their hard tyres, they will need to make inroads while they are fresh, and hope that when Andrea Cenkvan boxes for some fresh mediums, he's so far behind that he can't fight his way back up to the top. But being Andrea Cenkvan, we wouldn't put it past him.
Wouldn't put it past him at all, especially with the pace that he's been showing so far this race, being faster than everybody else. And you can see exactly why. A 3-time champion of the Almost Pro Championship and looking to pick up a 4th. And you can see, well, he has won 3 seasons, and he has gotten closer and closer to the start of the season as he's gone. Of course, he has gone race 14 in season 7. He went race 13 in season 8, and he has gone for season 9. He won the championship in race number 12. He cannot continue that streak because he didn't win it last time out in Brazil. But what he can do is he can just try to match it and go again and become a 4-time champion of the Almost Pro Championship. That's exactly what he is going to want to see. And, well, I think he's... In fact, I'm not sure whether it will be what he wants to see, because he'll be happy to seal the title, but at the same time, he won't want to... he likes a battle, does Andrea Cenkvan. He won't want it to be done too early, because if it is, then there's no fight, there's no fun, as far as he's concerned. But now 1.3 seconds off the back of Alexis Mason. If he wanted to make it easy for anybody else, he could have just not been as quick as he is, and, well, at the moment, that's just appearing to be the way that it is today, that Andrea Cenkvan is putting on a prime Andrea Cenkvan performance.
He absolutely is indeed. As you say, he does love a fight, and I remember how disappointed he was in season 7 when his championship fight went down to the final race, as we saw on that graphic, against Montserrat Reversi, and it was very close. Either one of those 2 drivers could have won that championship in that race, but Montserrat, I remember, wasn't able to attend. Very last minute, had to pull out, and I remember the disappointment from Andrea Cenkvan, who got the championship by default. He wanted to fight for it, but it wasn't to be. In fact, season 6, he joined midway through the season and almost battled for the championship in that season too. But it was taken by Lewis Smith, who is no longer here with us. Of course, he will be the first ever 4-time champion of the series if he takes the championship either today or any time in this season, because no one else has done it before, as Ollie Matthews has gone past his teammate Ethan Shackleton nice and easy down the back straight. Ethan Shackleton will tuck up behind him, but he's not going to be able to come past. But yes, it'll be the first time ever. The Stuart Towers, of course, another driver, the first driver to win 3 championships also consecutively. That streak was ended by Ethan Shackleton in season 4. So, of course, not seeing great results from Ethan Shackleton, who's about to come into the pit lane in this race. But, of course, we can never forget that he is a 4-time world champion and has also got the record for runners-up spots in APC. I'm sure that's not a record he really wants, but it's a record he has nonetheless.
Any record is a good record, except for when it's a bad record, and I'd say that's a pretty mediocre record, if you ask me, because, of course, he would have wanted to get over the line, but don't forget he is a champion, and those 4 championships refer to his partnership with Andrei Chenkovan, which, of course, has been very long and very successful, probably the most successful partnership in APC history, I think it's fair to say, although it is debatable, and all these sorts of things are always debatable because there is never one true answer. But Andrei Chenkovan could be demonstrated as the one true answer to that query here, as being the greatest driver in the Almost Pro Championship history. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody decided that he was deserving of that moniker, including Stuart Towers, who, of course, raced with us the last couple of seasons, attempted to race with Andrei Chenkovan, but just didn't quite have the pace anymore to keep up, just like Ethan Shackleton doesn't have the pace to keep up with his teammate, unfortunately, this season. The new game could bring new things and new dynamics for the drivers at the front, as into the pit lane comes Alexis Mason, and will be making a switch from her medium compounded tyres on lap number 12 of this race. It'll be an interesting fight between Alexis Mason and between Ellen Berlink in terms of the fastest woman in the Almost Pro Championship at the very least. Of course, both of them are going to be duking it out for that one. And Alexis Mason saying in the YouTube chat earlier on that she misses the day that she was the fastest woman in the series. Well, there's still opportunities, and there's still you're still going to be the fastest woman at some circuits, but there is also a fight going on in terms of the actual championship further down the order, and that will be the fight between all of these drivers for position. We aren't seeing Aaron Petho here today. We aren't seeing Regan Harding. We aren't seeing Connor Stewart-Woodard. We aren't seeing Matthew Gatches, and we aren't seeing Brian Moore. But we are seeing Daniel Riley. None of them going to be picking up any points today, apart from the one in last. So it makes it all just that little bit closer, as there is going to be 15 points separating all these 7 drivers, which makes for a fascinating final 2 rounds of the season.
Absolutely does. Daniel Riley just needs to get some good points, and he will jump up ahead of a lot of those drivers, as you say, are not here. Also, speaking, of course, of fastest woman in ABC, I would love to see the 2 of these drivers in full-time seats next season, and we'll obviously find out very soon if they're staying. It's that coming to that time of the season where we sign up the drivers for next season. As Lucas Seracini gets past Alexis, I thought I was on board with Lucas Seracini, and I got really confused there. I was like, is Alexis in the wall? So yeah, hope to see them both potentially full-time seats next season, but we have to wait and see. Quickly watch this overtake before I go to another fact. I said overtake like it was definitely going to happen. Didn't mean to say that, but quickly watch to see if Alexis will go past Lucas Seracini. Not going to. And again, I'm going to repeat this, but this is something I've said over the last few races, and it always seems to involve Alexis Mason. Of course, she's a fast driver. I'm not racing. I don't want to tell her how to race. But sometimes sticking behind and overtaking each other at the right times and using each other's DRS and each other's battery can help you in a battle with a driver ahead. Look at where Andrei Chenkovan is. There's a yellow flag actually in sector 1. There's also one of the Mercedes. I'm going to assume that is Paul Garung. If they work together, they can close that gap with Andrei Chenkovan, and when he then eventually boxes, he'll be too far away to catch him. But if they fight each other into corners, they're going to lose all that time, and Andrei Chenkovan is going to have it all his own way. So, quick fact on Ethan Shackleton, because I feel like all we talk about is how bad he's doing this season. If you were to look at the teams championships won in APC history, he has the most. So I will give him that. He has won the team championship 5 times. 4 of those times with Andrew Chenkovan, 1 of those times with previous drivers. He actually had 3 teammates, different teammates in season 3, and between them they managed to win the championship. That I think next, yeah, there'd be Andrew Chenkovan, then it would be Drew Bliss and myself. Actually, we both have 2 between us. So yeah, and then Stuart Towers only has the 1 there. Here I have 9 podiums, of course, as well. 1 race win. Quite happy with those facts. But yes, and Ethan Shackleton is the 3rd most participated races in APC history, because it was me actually at the top of that. It's now Connor Stewart Woodard, now set up this season. Then it's me, and then it's Ethan Shackleton. So Ethan Shackleton is a legend of APC. He might not have as many championships as Stuart Towers or Andrea Chenkovan, but he will forever, I would say, be a legend of the APC grid.
It depends what you define. It depends what you define as a legend, because of course there's multiple Formula 1 drivers, in fact, that are defined as legends, but haven't really done anything if you look statistically at the sport. So one of the most famous ones, or potentially the most famous one, would be Gilles Villeneuve, as we've got a safety car out there on the circuit. What on earth has happened? That's Alexandre Vicol, who's called race number 12 to a close, and that, or his race number 12 at least, to a close, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a safety car. Very, very interesting indeed. But that is going to change up the dynamics of the race, and it's going to help our champion-elect Andrea Chenkovan, because he's going to get the chance to come into the pit lane and basically have a free pit stop.
I mean, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I'll have to find out if Andrew Chenkovan and Alexandre Vicol are friends in real life. Who knows? It could happen. It could be the case. You know, let's throw those conspiracies out there. He's left the session. I'm sure he's not pleased about that. Dan Riley boxed. I'm actually just going to watch and see if Alexis Mason is going to get ahead of Andrew Chenkovan. She is just, but of course Andrew Chenkovan is on the better tyres, and actually everybody else behind has boxed, so they're actually not even going to chance it. They're going to fight Andrea Chenkovan wheel to wheel for the rest of this one. Will this be a mistake from Alexis Mason? We're definitely going to find out. But yeah, Dan Riley's boxed for some reason, so he would have been allowed to pass the safety car and box on the next lap and have much fresher tyres than everybody else, but he chose to box immediately as he was by the pit entry, which means he's going to have 1 lap extra wear on those tyres than he really needed to. But I guess they are hard tyres, and there are 11 laps to go, so it's probably not going to make a massive difference. But drama for Alexandre Vicol. Misses 3 races, comes back for 1, and puts it into the wall. We didn't get to see what happened there, but as Ethan Shackleton exits the pit lane, all the drivers except Ollie Corlett and Alexis Mason are all on fresh tyres.
Yeah, and I think Ollie Corlett might be considering boxing if he's got another set of those hard compound tyres, but I can see why Alexis Mason has not decided to box, because those tyres are not going to be too bad. As you mentioned, the hard compound tyres, they're going to go very long in the race, and well, we will see quite how long they're going to go and quite how much fresher the brand new tyres are going to be versus Alexis Mason's old ones. As well, we will get back to green flag racing when everybody's caught up, but of course the field spread was rather large between all of the drivers, so it's going to be a while before we get back to green flag racing. I think we've got a couple of laps before we will head back to it, and well, we shall wait and see. I'm sure we will resume our APC history lesson in a little bit, and potentially even under this safety car, depending on how long it stays out, because the likes of, for example, Daniel Riley are going to be massively off of the back of the field, and well, you can see on your screens Daniel Riley is all the way back in sector number 1 as everybody completes the lap, or in fact sector number 2 more specifically, as everybody is going to complete their lap and head on to it for another one. So I think at maximum there's going to be 3 or 4 laps of safety car, but it's still 3 or 4 laps too long, because we want to see the racing, but at the same time we want to see them fighting wheel to wheel, and this is our best opportunity of doing so by closing up the gaps.
I'd say who I'm most excited for in this restart, Luca Seracini. He has the same tyre life and same tyre compound as Andrew Chenkovan ahead. He will be hoping to fight in to the final few laps of this race. He'll need to do that as soon as he possibly can, though, because he believes it too late. Andrew Chenkovan may well get past Alexis Mason and disappear into the night. But there are, of course, some other fast drivers in behind. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a swap between Owen Boldero and Ollie Matthews, but of course they haven't done it yet, so there obviously is a glitch. I say glitch, but it's a trick, should we say, in this game where you can hand the position over by going all 4 wheels off the track. But of course there is a small risk of Ollie Corlett also following through, which just realised how that sounded, which they of course would not want. So yeah, they need to be very careful. Ollie Corlett, I tell you what, he is about to frustrate 4 very fast drivers in Burt Welly, Paul Garung, Ethan Shackleton and Daniel Riley, because they are all behind them. They're all on fresh tyres, and Ollie Corlett, of course, is on 8-lap old hard tyres. He is going to be the slowest, and he might make life a lot easier for the Aston Martins, it must be said. He might surprise us, but the safety car will come in this lap. There are 2 cars still not on the back of this field yet. They need to get a move on. I'm sure they will, but when will Alexis Mason get us back to green flag running in the green car?
I forget how easy it is to catch up around the Las Vegas Strip because of the fact that they've got those long straights. So they will all be caught up by the time we go back to green flag racing. Ethan Shackleton just catching up to the back in the chicane. And Dan Riley will be just a little bit off the back. He'll be hoping that Alexis Mason goes very late here. If she goes early, that's going to stitch up the Mercedes. But he's just caught up to the back of the field. You can see the crowd strike on the rear wing. He has caught back up to the field. So now it's all down to Alexis Mason, who's going to wait. But she's going to put the power down now and going to get going relatively early there, but catching Andrea Chenkovan off guard. He's going to be under pressure from Lucas Erracini into the first corner, but no doing for the V-Cub for the time being. But Andrea Chenkovan runs wide, a big lock-up into the first corner. He's going to lose a position and maybe another one to Ellen, but there's going to be pressure on Ellen from Owen Boldero. So it's a chain reaction from Andrea Chenkovan's poor start that means that the Aston Martin's going to be able to make his way through. Ollie Matthews going to have a look at the same thing on the inside line of Ellen, but won't be making the move, and so will sit in behind. In the meantime, that will be a move further back, and Ethan Shackleton and Paul Garung tripping over each other on their moves past, as Ollie Matthews passed Ellen and will be back to the inside line. Will it be the late breaking move that will see it finally completed for Ollie Matthews? Ellen's going to be back around the outside, and into the wall goes Ethan Shackleton, front wing off, pretty much the end of the race, and that's contact between 2 stalwarts of the league, Ethan Shackleton and Daniel Riley, who are both down the back of the field with damage.
That is absolutely unfortunate. We didn't quite catch exactly what happened, but it looks like Ethan Shackleton did a mistake and lost the back end and span round in the first sector there. He has completely lost both end plates. Someone else who doesn't have any end plates is Ellen Belink, which is why she got swallowed up so quickly in the restart, and in fact she's continuing to drop back through the order. She is in better condition than Paul Garung and Ethan Shackleton after that. So will she hold on to them? Will she keep in the top 10? Hopefully she will try, and we will find out. Only one car won't score today, and that will depend on who's in 11th position. Currently that's held by Ethan Shackleton, but Lucas Erracini had the best restart. We had an onboard view of that, and he was hassling Andrew Chenkovan. Andrew Chenkovan was able to hold it initially, but then got a bit spooked in turn 1 and went wide. And now Lucas Erracini, I was about to say, looks really good for a potential win here. But Ethan Shackleton, not even Shackleton, Andrew Chenkovan is looking racy as well. How long will Alexis Mason be able to hold up these 2 fast medium runners behind? We will about to find out, but she's placing the car in the right places at the right time. And I think Lucas Erracini actually loses the back end there, so I'll take that back immediately. Lucas Erracini will want to get past as soon as possible. Both Aston Martins will also want to do the same. It might look on your screen like Ollie Matthews doesn't have a front wing. That is a glitch, I promise you. Andrew Chenkovan is going to go down the inside. Lucas Erracini taps the back of Alexis Mason. And as we go down the Las Vegas Boulevard one more time, so much action I can't keep up. Lucas Erracini looks like he may take the lead at the end of this straight.
Yeah, he may well do. We will see as Lucas Erracini all over the back of Alexis Mason at this point in time. Pulls to the outside line and will get it done with the first helping of DRS after the safety car restart. Andrea Chenkovan having a look at the back of Owen Boldero as well. All over the back as the inside line beckons for Alexis Mason. She's going to squeeze very, very wide, and that will be contact. That will be damage for Serafini, and that will be the door open for Owen Boldero. As Luca Serafini moved back across, there was big contact between himself and Mason. Into the pit lane goes Mason. For some reason, Luca Serafini looks like he's going to continue on. Indeed, he is, with massive front wing damage. But into the box comes Alexis Mason. I think rightfully she's got problems with that one. But also desync could be a problem. And I think that may well have been what happened there with the massive lag that we had from Luca Serafini on the exit of the corner. But briefly, 3 wide. And that allows the opportunity for Owen Boldero to defend for his life and defend to keep the Aston Martin Championship charge alive.
I am so glad you were leading the commentary at that moment, because we needed the mastery of Joseph Black to decipher that one, because so much was going on and I could barely keep up. Andrew Chenkovan, this is, I think, the 3rd time this season that he's been put into a wall and got 0 damage. I don't know how he keeps pulling it off. We need to see his game files, I think, because somehow he never gets damage, and he is just lucky, I think, sometimes. He's obviously, a lot of the time, it comes down to skill, but sometimes, and I think like that scenario, it comes down to luck. But I tell you what a disappointing end for Luca Serafini. I really, really would love to see him get a win here in ABC, and that was a fantastic chance to do so. Owen Boldero will play the game here, and will make it easy for Andrew Chenkovan, because he knows if he can stay with him, there is a chance of coming back at him later. But I tell you what, if both Aston Martins could get through here, that would be fantastic for the chances of Owen Boldero. I know that Ollie Matthews wants to help his teammate get a win in APC, because I think, I can't remember if he's had one actually. He did about 4 races in an earlier season, so I can't remember if he got a win. He was rapid back then. He was actually on Andrew Chenkovan's pace, so he'd be happy to be back up there. But it's a big ask for even one of them to get back ahead of Andrew Chenkovan, let alone the both of them. Bert Welly, of course, had a terrible start, but he is now looking good in this one as well. Ellen Belink, who looked like she was down and out with a front wing end plate missing, is now back in 5th position. Paul Garung, who also was at the back at one point, is also on the back of this lead DRS train. It's Luca Serafini, 5.4 seconds off. Ollie call it in just behind. Dan Riley back in the top 10, and Alexis Mason currently picking up the final point, 10 seconds ahead of the other Ferrari of Ethan Shackleton.
Yes, at the moment, ahead of the other Ferrari, Ethan Shackleton, as you say, and they're going to be right at the very back of the field with not really much to play for. They're going to go for the fastest laps, and of course Alexis Mason will pick up a point, but I don't think there's going to be all too much in the way of positivity for those at the back, and of course both of them would have been hoping for a little bit more heading into this race. And we've got 5 laps to go here around the Las Vegas Boulevard for our racing for round number 12 of 15. And is that going to be a move for the inside for Ellen Belink? No, it's not quite. She had a look to the inside of Bert Welly, who no longer has DRS, and they're not able to make her way through right now. Andrew Chenkovan might be under pressure into the first corner from Owen Boldero. I think he's trying to use everything to catch up to the Ferrari and make the opportunity work. He made the mistake on the safety car restart to Chenkovan, but Owen Boldero not quite close enough to challenge just yet, but he will continue to try to pressure all the way through the remainder of this lap and all the way through the remainder of this race as well. But if he can't make his way through on the Ferrari, then he'll just have to yield. And Ollie Matthews will try to give chase, because of course Chenkovan and Matthews are on the same set of tyres, so they might be thinking about swapping them round and giving the car with the faster tyres the opportunity to fight. That'll be Ollie Matthews, and then later on in the race, when Owen Boldero's tyres are the slightly better ones, then they can swap over and give the Aston Martin on the hards a chance to have a go, have a look at the car in front. It's been hard to take our eyes off the action for the majority of this race, but you just have to take a step back and think about that championship contention. Of course, Racing Bull's unlikely, almost impossible now, to be able to beat the Ferrari team, and won't be able to stay in the fight, I don't imagine. But Aston Martin will be picking up another huge haul of points for themselves, as Dan Riley threw on Ollie Corlett. But yeah, another huge haul of points, and Ethan Shackleton outside of them at the moment. The Constructors' Championship very much still on, but they could do with a victory here, and Owen Boldero the best place to do so, 2/10 off the back of Chenkovan. If there was DRS down the main straight, he would have had it, but I don't think he will be able to make his way through. Virtual safety car, Alexis Mason has binned it heading out onto the boulevard. We'll try and catch an onboard shot of Ethan Shackleton as we have a look past, and it looks like she's just pinned the throttle down on the exit, tried to get the power down, and she has disappeared off our screen by the time we pass. So unfortunately, Alexis Mason out of this race.
Absolutely, that's not how she wanted this to end. Only a virtual safety car, so this will neutralise the field, but won't bunch them back up. Of course, there was a quick mention of Ollie Matthews being on the faster tyre, but that will change, obviously, at some point, and it may well have happened already. Owen Baldera does look faster of the three of them, and he is on the hard tyres, so he'll be hoping that the tyres on Andrew Cenkovan's car will fall off very quickly, and he'll be getting the feedback from his teammate, who is on the same tyres and the same tyre life, and he will be letting him know what the grip levels will be like. Of course, Andrew Cenkovan is great at keeping tyre life in his tyres. He's one of the best at doing so, so he may not be on the same grip level as Ollie Matthews, but see what, they've all bunched up, and I'm expecting. I don't know if Andrew Cenkovan is just going slower than the Delta, as Ollie Matthews does actually back off now. But we're waiting for the green flag to drop again, and there it is, and it's a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC for Daniel Riley. The VSC restarts are one of the hardest things to do in this game. You have to really balance it on a knife edge, and unfortunately Daniel Riley was not able to do so. But as we are back underway, can Owen Baldera get close enough to Andrew Cenkovan to challenge for the win of race number 12?
He's going to give it a go here, 10th and a chunk back, but he's not going to be able to get the opportunity to make his way through, and will just sit in behind for the time being. But it's very, very promising signs for the two Aston Martin, but it's very promising signs as well for Andrew Cenkovan, who will need to avoid now losing. If Dan Riley comes into the pit lane, as we expect he will, within the next lap, he will need to avoid losing 17 seconds, because Ollie Corlett is that car that will be in 8th place as Ellen tries to go to the outside line of Bert Welly, but Bert's going to cut across, and with the better speed, that's going to be Ellen going to the inside. Bert Welly sent off of the road. I was going to say with the better overspeed, Bert Welly was going to hold on to the position, but no, Ellen around the outside. Tried to hold it out of 1 and through 2, just went back to the inside of the B car, and there was contact between the two. Unfortunately, I think that was going to be one of those that goes down as a racing incident, because the gap was there and it was just closed. But of course, I'm not a steward, it's not my job. Steward's usually in the chat, so he might be able to give us his live opinion on that one. And with 3 laps to go, that will put Bert Welly back behind Paul Goran.
Owen Baldera is still on the back of Andrew Cenkovan, but Ollie Matthews, crucially, is no longer on the back of Owen Baldera. In fact, he might have just done enough there, but we will find out very, very shortly. 3 laps, or not 3 laps, 2 and a bit laps left to go for Owen Baldera to do this. I will correct myself from earlier. Owen Baldera won race number 11 of Season 6, but as far as I'm aware, that is his one and only race win so far, and he will absolutely want another one. Will he try and do it in like now, or will he hold on to the final lap? Ollie Matthews, we can confirm, is out of the DRS, and he will not be able to get back in. So that speaks for the medium tyres then. Has Andrew Cenkovan done enough to hold on to enough grip to deny the second win from Owen Baldera, the first of Season 10? We're going to have to find out in just over a lap and a half's time. But with 10 drivers left in this race, all drivers, unless they crash out, which is possible as it currently seems, will receive points. Ollie Corlett had to finally come off those hard tyres. He did do no, what hard? It was the medium. 15. Yeah, sorry, it was hard. 15 laps he did on those hard tyres. And I tell you what, the most laps done on the medium tyres by anyone so far is 11. That was Alexis Mason, and it's currently 9 laps for Andrew Cenkovan. So I'm sure they'll be fine, but he won't be as comfortable as he would like. I have just realised that we are looking at gap to leader, which is why Ollie Corlett looks a lot closer than the time says. That definitely confused me for a second there. I was like, I'm sure he's in DRS range. But lap number 24, would Owen Baldera go for it now and play it safe? I mean, would he even be close enough? Or will he wait till the final lap?
Well, I think he's going to wait for the final lap. Owen Baldera will give it a go, but there's 9/10 off the back of Andrew Cenkovan, 9/10 between Baldera and Matthews. So I think the pace is dropping off for the Aston Martin behind now, very unfortunately. And I think Owen Baldera is just doing his best to keep Ollie Matthews within DRS range. It's a difficult balancing act being the one in the middle, because you have to give both DRS to the car behind and hold on to it to the car ahead. And that's why he's losing a little bit of time down this straight, because he wants to just make sure that Ollie Matthews is still within range. and well, we will see whether he's going to be able to get DRS. It's going to be difficult, and I don't think Ollie Matthews is going to be in with a chance. So Owen Boldero, late on, is going to give a go at fighting with Andrea Chenkovan as a lone soldier. The final lap of this race is underway, and so Owen Boldero has only one more DRS zone after this one to pounce, and he will not be taking this one. So it's down to the one more. Owen Boldero looking for the victory in the Aston Martin. His teammates' championship charge will be dead unless Andrea Chenkovan makes a mistake on the final lap. So it just goes down to the teams, which is why we are not seeing the two switch, which is why Ollie Matthews has not been given the opportunity to race ahead of Boldero. That's why he's set Boldero free to chase after Chenkovan. But the concern is here that he's out of ERS, that he's out of chances to push. And so it's down to the Croat to make a mistake and for the Aston Martin to pounce. This is going to be, though, a championship victory heading the way of the Croatian driver. He's taken 3 APC titles and he's very much on his path to his 4th in a row. The most dominant driver in the Almost Pro Championship history. Whether we can argue that he is the GOAT or not, he is certainly making a great claim to do so. Luca Serafini out of the race on the final lap, but we will keep our eyes on the gap between the top two. 3/10 between Boldero and Chenkovan, but the Ferrari won't worry about that one. Ollie Matthews challenged him to start at the back, which he did, and he went from last to first. Chenkovan is our champion. Owen Boldero comes home in 2nd place. He was not quite able to catch up to the Ferrari, and it will be the Croat who will take an unbelievable victory, and that is how you win a championship. 12th place on the grid, all the way to the top. Andrea Chenkovan is a 4-time champion.
That he is, and what a deserving champion he is in this season. It's been a dominant drive from Andrew Chenkovan. There has been mistakes, there have been challenges, but it ultimately was not enough. Owen Boldero and Luca Serafini both had a good chance of winning this one, but neither were able to convert. Alexis Mason, of course, also looks good at one point, but ends this race DNF. I think Luca Serafini will still be counted. I think he's had enough laps to take 10th position. Elin Bulling got a fantastic pole position time, 3/10 faster than anybody else, but also wasn't able to convert. The person who converted in the end was the person who started last.
Yes, it certainly is. And well, as I said, that is how you wrap up a championship. That is how you take a title. Andrea Chenkovan with an unbelievable victory from last to first. And, well, he had luck across the course of the race. But you've got to be there to pounce upon your luck. And sometimes you make your own luck. So Andrea Chenkovan, a deserved race winner, a deserved driver of the day as well. He won by 0.3 of a second ahead of Owen Boldero in 2nd place. 3rd for Ollie Matthews, and the 2 Aston Martins will close the gap to the Ferraris. And, well, 4th place, Elin Bulling. 5th place, Paul Garung. He'll be disappointed with his pace there, but in the end, 5th place, not too terrible. Better than his teammate at the very least. Bert Welly in 6th. 7th place for Ethan Shackleton. 8th for Dan Riley, 9th for Ollie Corlett, and rounding out the top 10 will be Luca Serafini, who DNF'd on the final lap, but he will still pick up that point with Alexis Mason and Alexander Vickel are 2 DNFs. But of course, that will make the Constructors' Championships just that little bit closer, with 33 points picked up for the Aston Martin team. A good recovery from Ethan Shackleton in the final few laps to come home with 6 points, which in fact means that they will be on 33. So in fact, after all of that, no, they won't. They'll be on 31. So it's a 2-point gain. My maths wasn't all wrong, but the majority of it was. We're going to get the opportunity now to speak to some of the drivers about that race. We're going to allow a couple of them to cool down, I'd imagine, because it was a very, very tense race indeed. And so we're going to get the opportunity to speak to... We're going to have a word with Ollie Matthews, who, of course, now mathematically is out of the Drivers' Championship, but the Constructors' Championship still very much on. Ollie, thank you for joining us in the commentary box. Just talk me through that one.
That was the most hectic race of my possibly life. Probably my last ever wheel on this good old Logitech of mine, and it kind of threw everything at me. I didn't have the pace that I thought I would. Qualified quite well though, and I had some issues with some drivers early on in the race, which gave me critical damage, meant that I had to convert to a 2-stop which was annoying. But the safety car then saved my race there. Got some damage on the restart due to the shenanigans that occurred that you probably will speak a lot about later. And I somehow landed in P3. I don't even really know how.
Yeah, it certainly looked like a chaotic race. And, well, I mean, that two-stop strategy switch ended up being a pretty decent one, but only 9 laps on the hards. Was there a consideration you were going to switch over and, well, continue on those hard compound tyres for the rest of the race and switch back over to the one-stop? Was there a ruining of the fact that you didn't stay on the hards or even bring another set of hards? And, well, was it just... I mean, it could have just been a guaranteed strategy as soon as that safety car came out to go from the hards to the mediums. But talk me through the strategic options there and, well, how much you rued the fact that you didn't have the hards.
Yeah, having a second set of hards was definitely the play. Me and Owen were talking about it beforehand, and I'm like, the hards are the race tyre. But if there's a late safety car, you want to be on the mediums. The timing of the safety car was kind of at that crossover where mediums would probably be dead at the end, but hards would go the distance, which I would have preferred. But both me and Owen made the kind of alternative strategies work. I wouldn't have wanted to stay out on those initial hard tyres because they would be oddly of 70% by the end, which would have been... I would have fallen back so much more. So I'm glad I had fresh tyres at least and weren't caught in any further incidents, and I've just got to take it.
Yeah, certainly do, I think. And, well, the Constructors' title, it was a good comeback in the end from Ethan Shackleton to come up to 7th place from a point that he was at earlier on in it. But you've managed to gain by 2 points. Is it still on?
We'll see how Qatar goes. The fact that we're still in contention means that it is still on, but we just need to have results like that. Chenky can just stop now. I couldn't quite find his the cable for his Wi-Fi this race, but I'm working on it. And yeah, Qatar, not one of my strongest tracks, but I have a psychopathic looking setup that could cook entirely, but I haven't tested it yet.
Yeah, we will wait and see for that one. That will be all from me. Carl, have you got anything for Ollie?
I do, Ollie. So obviously, you and Owen Baldero work very, very well together, and there's still a team championship to play for here. But there's also a second in the Drivers' Championship still up for grabs. What is that going to look like between the two of you?
I think we're ultimately putting the team's championship first. We'll see what the gap is going into Abu Dhabi and how we're going to deal with that. But ultimately, we're taking one race at a time. And as we've said before, if we're close to each other on track and we've got nothing to play for, we're fighting it out. We've played some team games before Baku, especially. I'm likely to be returning the favour though, because we want to secure P2 and 3 in the drivers. And Luca crashing out has definitely aided Owen to secure that P3. But we're going to be friends, but like on track, last few laps, we might be going at it in a safe manner.
Sure. Well, we look forward to seeing that in the final 2 races coming up, obviously, next week and the week after. But thank you for joining us as always. Well done on your podium from what looked like the depths of the back of the field.
I thought I was getting 1 point out of
that. Exactly. But you fought back and you done very well. So thanks as always. And thank you for joining us. And we'll speak to you very, very soon.
Indeed. Bye-bye.
Right, that was Ollie Matthews, of course, who picked up 3rd place, and in 2nd it was going to be Owen Baldero, the 2 Aston Martins finishing relatively together on track. And, well, Owen, talk me through that one.
A roller coaster, simply put. Qualifying was terrible. I messed up my final run and started 8th. I had a pretty good start. And throughout the entire first stint, I was having huge connection issues. I wasn't lagging or anything, but I kept connecting to online servers and I lost DRS to Luca and Alexis because of it, and then I got overtaken by Ellen because of it as well, and because it happened every time in the second sector, where it's obviously all corners. So I was having to go into my menu to let my AIs take over. And then it got even worse. I selected hards on lap 8, and I must have accidentally knocked the button to go onto mediums because I ended up going onto mediums. And at that point, I was like, well, this race is chalked. It's over. I'm not finishing anywhere here. And then the safety car came out. I was like, hang on a minute. I'm going to be one of the only ones on hards. And hards are the better race tire here than mediums. Mediums just fall away outrageously quickly. So a restart, I was relatively safe. Got myself past Ellen because Ellen had got damage in front of me into turn 1, and then the Alexis and Luca incident happened. I wish you good luck with that because there's some temper in that waiting room, let's say, and that put me up to P2, and I was like, race win could be on here. But unfortunately, no bone. Chenky just saved a little bit more battery than me. And naturally, with him being quicker than me, he was just able to run enough to keep himself in front. So, sucks that I couldn't get the win. But from where I was on lap 15, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for being happy with that positioning. But of course, I'll just talk briefly about the championship because you've covered all of my questions, as you always seem to do about the race. But the championship, we spoke to Ollie just a moment ago. Do you reckon it'll still be on?
For the constructors, I assume you mean.
Yes. Well, yes. Of course.
Yeah. So, how many races are there left? There's 2 left, I believe. And we are, probably 55 or something behind now. I mean, again, without a Chenky disaster class like we saw at Baku or something, I think it's probably going to be wrapped up next race. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll just take it race by race and then go from there.
Yes. Well, we will see. And next race up. We've got Qatar. How are we feeling about that?
I'm going to be honest. I have not really much idea. So I have done a league race at Qatar, but I was on Xbox back then. And what I'm finding is tracks feel very, very different on PC to how they did on console. So I'm not too sure. Qatar in the past has been a relatively okay track for me, but it's one where tire wear for me at least is pretty high. So we'll see, but my pace there should be okay. It's just going to be about avoiding track limit penalties.
Yes, well, we shall see about that one. That'll be all from me. Kyle, have you got anything?
I'm going to ask the same question actually that I asked your teammate, because I'm hoping I'll get a different answer and it'll be spicy. But Driver Championship, obviously, sorry, that's done. But runner-up spot is still up for grabs. And that is between the two of you. And it was Lucas Orsini. I'm not quite sure if he can still get it at this point. I'll have to wait until I've got all the results inputted. But what is that going to look like for the team dynamic?
So we're not. I imagine we probably won't. We won't be too feisty on it. You know, our first priority is going to be the constructors. We did talk about if the drivers' championship was decided today, which it was, we'd focus on the constructors and securing 2-3. But I'm not too sure how many points I am behind. But again, I don't think without Ollie, having a bad race or something, I'll be able to gain enough points on him to finish in second in the drivers. So my priority is going to be the constructors, definitely, and beating RB and trying to catch Ferrari.
To answer your question, the gap is 26 points between the two of you. So yeah, I guess it is a little bit of an ask for you to close that gap, but we have seen mistakes from Ollie Matthews, so it is always possible. But Lucas Orsini is 28 points behind you. So I guess top three looks pretty sewn up for you, potentially. But yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to see how that one pans out as we continue towards the final two races of the season. Team Championship is still on with 58 points being the gap. Again, big ask, but it's doable. So look forward to seeing how you two work together to close that gap and take that one away from Ferrari. But until then, enjoy your week and we will speak to you, but hopefully next week.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you next week.
Yeah, that was the two easy interviews out of the way, and now we're going to be dragging in a couple of the drivers who will be slightly less happy about that one. Just a reminder, Alexis, before we start, we're not allowed to swear on broadcast. How did that race go?
It was going really well. It was. I was enjoying it up front, and then I don't know if you saw on stream, put into a wall,
Well, yes,
which
of course.
it ended my fight for the win, and then I was doing pretty much quality lap simulator, and I understeered into a wall.
Yeah.
Overall, it didn't affect anything because it was only a VSC, which I'm glad it wasn't a safety car because that was a complete mistake.
Yeah, well, of course, could have had shades of some things that were accused earlier on in the broadcast for Alexandra Vickle, not to stir anything up, Kyle. But yeah, it was. It certainly looked like you very much had the pace in this race, and well, it was just. It seemed to be a difficult one for a lot of the drivers. Absolute carnage out there on the road. But when the safety car came out, what were the thoughts in terms of the strategy?
I can't swear here. That's not easy. I knew Cenk won, but I'm surprised he had such a fight for the win. Because of course, he was out of box. I think the only reason why he had such a fight for the win was because I absolutely full send just to try and get in front of him. Which probably was a mistake gathering what ended up. Should probably boxed.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That is all from me. That's all from me. Kyle, have you got anything before we let Alexis go?
Yeah, I mean, you were obviously having quite a nice battle at one point. With them, of course, you both being the only women on the track is obviously quite nice to see. How you two go racing, and you're both absolutely rapid. How was that battle?
What car again?
Kicks Alpha. No, your Kicks Alpha, Williams.
Oh, I cannot remember. Honestly, I cannot remember. After my mind's kind of on the end of the race at the moment. But what's done has been done.
Indeed, and that's yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
I won't take it forward. Oh well, it's a game at the end of the day. Like, no change in it, but it's a game. Have fun.
But I am very much looking forward to this final interview and seeing if it's just as nice. But we will find out. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last time we're going to see you this season. Is that still correct?
Yes, it will be correct. This is the last time. Overall, I'm actually quite happy with my run in APC this season because I got a couple of wins. Was it a couple of wins on the board? Austria and Monza. I got P2 and P3 and maybe another P2 in there.
It is for yourself. Right, there you are. It was your debut in Saudi Arabia was P2. Obviously P1 on track, but less said about that one. Then you won the following race in Austria. You had a DNF in Belgium. You won at Monza. P2 in Circuit of the Americas. Third place last time out, and again another DNF today. So it's been fantastic having you with us. I fear that potentially Bert Welly, Ethan Shackleton may now take you in the championship, so you may well finish this one in 7th. But it's been a good showing for somebody who's only attended 7 races this season as a reserve. But it's been great having you here as reserve. Thank you for getting involved, and I'm very much hoping we'll see you again next season if not as a full-time driver, hopefully as a full-time driver, but if not, at least as a reserve. But thank you for your
Well,
time with us. And
As
we'll
a
speak to you
as a
soon.
full-time driver, I get scared of forgetting to fill in that form if I'm not racing. So scary form.
I mean, you barely give us enough warning that you're driving as a reserve, so
I gave you enough warning. I gave you good warning this week. Last
Yeah,
week,
okay. For
last week maybe I cut a bit tight.
the purposes of the tape, she did give me enough warning this week for the first time ever. But we will move on to the
This is the
next
second
interview.
time. This is the
with-
second time I've done
with-
that.
We're going to move on to the next interview with your rival in this race. But thanks again for joining us this season. Do try and join us on the broadcast if you can. Get involved. And until then, we will hopefully speak to you next season.
Goodbye.
That was, of course, Alexis Mason, who did sign up with good time this week, of course, and the last driver into the box will be Luca Seracini here today. And well, Luca, it was an up and down race, it seemed, for you. Talk me through it from your perspective.
I don't know if I want to talk about it. I mean, I felt like my lap and quali was really good. Like, I could have been a bit closer to Ellen, but I was never ever going to get her. And then, I mean, I had a great start. I got into first. I was going to sort of just manage it a bit. I was hoping I could just stay ahead of everyone until nearish my pit stop, and then I was going to try and undercut like I tried in Brazil, and it worked out in Brazil, and it was going to work out here. And then the safety car came out, which initially I was kind of annoyed about because I thought it would help Cenk, but then I realised I was never going to beat him anyway, I don't think. But it kind of helped me against Alexis. Yeah, she stayed out for a reason I do not understand, to stay on old hards. I went on to a new set of mediums. And then on the restart, I was with Chenky. He went really deep into turn one. I got past him. And then I don't know what Alexis was doing, to be honest. I mean, like before the detection zone, like after the bit of lap, I don't know if she was lifting, but I mean, I was on with basically the exact same wings with her, almost out of slipstream, and I was repeatedly hitting into the back of her, and she was like swerving back and forth to try let me in front of her. And then Chenky ended up going off from it. I nearly spun her out. Then she tried to let me through after chicane as well, which I just hate when people do DRS chickens. It does my head in. And then I got ahead of her because I ended up getting the DRS. I was clearly ahead of her. She just launched it down the inside. I gave her enough room. She gives me orange wing damage, or maybe yellow. I don't know, but it wasn't good. And then we end up going 3 wide. And then I sort of have like Owen to my right and Alex to my left. So I knew I needed to sort of stay still. But then I don't know what happened to Owen, but he sort of like jittered left a bit. I sort of jittered left a bit. And then Alexis wasn't like fully as left as she could have been because she didn't really have to be, really. And then we ended up just taking each other out. And then, I mean, with a basically broken wing, I ended up crashing into one of the chicanes. But I mean, I lost 6 points. And I was going to lose P3 in the, well, stay P4 in the championship anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, a bit annoying.
Yeah, and of course, that being a detailed description of something that only the stewards can talk about, not ourselves, because we don't want to cast any aspersions either way. But yeah, I mean, you talk about the championship, and well, whilst it might not be the most exciting in terms of the drivers for yourself, the team's championship very much still on with the fight for second place, potentially?
Not after that race, honestly. I mean, if I would have come on the podium that race, maybe even get a win, and Bert didn't have an incident with someone, I don't remember who it was, then yeah, I would be here saying, yeah, in a much better mood, saying, yeah, it could still be on, but yeah, I don't think it's possible anymore unless either the Astons don't turn up or they just have a complete stinker, which I don't see happening.
Although qualifying here looked like it might well have turned into a stinker for themselves. So, hey, you never know. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult, I think, potentially from this point onwards. You never know. We'll have to wait and see. Next time out, we are heading to Qatar, and of course, there is the opportunity for stinkers and mistakes there. How are we feeling about that one?
I don't know, I haven't touched Qatar in a long time, and I think the last time I properly touched it was last season, and it was when I had the little turnaround and started. I think I finished like 5th, basically, out of Brazil, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. So I mean, again, I'm going to hope for a podium. If I don't get into any more incidents, then maybe I could fight with Chenky, but I don't know how quick he is around Qatar, honestly.
Yeah, well, of course, that is something. It's all something that we're going to have to wait and find out. That's all from me. Carl, have you got anything for Luca before we let him go?
The last time we properly touched it was last season, and I said about that the better. So, Lucas Serafini, you took pole position, provisional pole position, apologies, at one point towards the end there. It was obviously a fantastic lap. You also led quite a few laps at the beginning of the race. Did you believe this could have finally been the race for you?
Not. I mean, I saw Chenky was doing the last to first during qualifying. I thought maybe it's on, and I saw Ellen went 3 attempts quicker, and I thought, well, okay, well, she's going to win. And then at the race start, I thought she had a stinker at the start in Brazil. Maybe I could get ahead of her, which I did. And then I paced all right, and then I saw Alex behind me. I thought she's going to be way quicker than me, which she did, well, clearly was. And then, yeah, after he got past me and Chenky got past me and were miles ahead of me, I thought, yeah, I mean, I don't think the win's possible. And with the safety car, when Alexis stayed out and I got past Chenky, I thought, okay, well, I'm leading. If I can just defend well enough, then yeah, it could be possible. But yeah, I thought it was possible at some parts.
So did I, and let me tell you, I was rooting for your first win. I think it's something that I think is on the horizon for you if you continue improving as you have done between seasons. So hopefully we'll see you next season. Of course, I'm not asking you to commit to that just yet, but I'm very hoping that will be the case. But we've still got 2 races left of this season, so nothing. You're not going to worry about that just yet. So thanks as always for joining us in the comms box, and I'm hoping we'll speak to you again very soon.
You will.
Excellent.
Well,
Bye.
Is Luca Serafini, our last interview of the night, wanted to give an opportunity to cool down for a couple of the drivers. And, well, it was a fantastic race indeed. In terms of the neutral perspective, but I think a few of the drivers are feeling a little bit frustrated with that one.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a few incidents in the end there. A few drivers who haven't spoken to us, who, of course, had incidents of their own. I mean, the Aston Martins, after that qualifying performance, I think that was probably the best they could have probably asked for. I mean, I say that. Owen Baldero wasn't massively far off the win. You know, I was hoping for a new winner. I think it was, as a neutral perspective, of course, it was very possible from 2 drivers today, but neither were able to beat the legend, so we say now, because he is a 4-time world champion. That is Andrea Chenkovan. Last to first challenge, and he finishes on the top step of the podium. What a fantastic showing from him. And will he be able to also convert a 5th team's championship in a row? Because that will be another record in itself. We've got a couple more races to find out. Those races, of course, being Qatar next week. That will be a fun circuit. It's not a street circuit, that one. That's much more open, much more room for battles on track. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that one is going to hold. And then we will finish Season 10 after 14 races in the desert of Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi, and the champion will be officially crowned, and so will the team's championship. But there's a lot of other battles still to tie up across the championship order in both the team's championship and the drivers' championship. So I look forward to finding out where they're all going to end. But 2 races left to go, and we will continue that next week in Qatar.
Certainly will, and a great roundup of the calendar there. And a great graphic just loaded up for you right now to finish us off for today. Appropriately red in the background, of course, that's the colour of the league, but it's also the colour of the team that Andrea Chenkovan has driven for a very long time. And he has taken those 4 titles home now. He's got a couple more races to do his victory laps. That was a fantastic way to win a title, and, well, we very much anticipate the next couple of races to see what sort of shenanigans Chenkovan gets up to and still ends up on top. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in tonight, and, well, we'll see you next time out.
The action's underway. Stance's authority once again.
My word, this could go wrong.
On the brakes, goodness me, what a launch!
Look at that.
It just all comes down to this.